And she said these words that would just forever change my life. She said, "You will live and not die." As the band began to start the worship music, I stood and I raised my hand in worship. And a woman that I didn't know, I had never seen her before, she walked past me, turned around, and came back and stood nose to nose with me. She said, "Fear not, for the Lord your God says you will surely live and not die."
I think both of us were a little concerned. Obviously, you'll live and not die. It kind of tells you something is going to happen soon. So both of us were quite concerned and just kind of, okay, what's going to happen next?
Monday came. I just didn't feel quite right. I just felt kind of out of sorts, tired and not feeling my best. I was sitting on my sofa with my husband and something's not right. I can't breathe. I said, "I need to go to the hospital."
We took her immediately to the emergency room, pulled up, they came out with a wheelchair, wheeled her inside. The whole time I'm saying to God, have your hand on her.
My vitals are slipping and I'm saying, "Lord, forgive me for everything I've ever done, anything, Lord, that's not pleasing to you."
And I saw our pastor lean down and whisper, "Remember, Dell, you shall live and not die."
They came back and they said, "You've had a heart attack and it looks like a bad one."
And she's going to have a stent put in.
They did the stent and the cardiologist said, "You should be dead right now." 90% of the people who have the kind of heart attack you've had don't even make it to the hospital, or they die in their sleep at night. The heart attack was so bad that it severely damaged my heart. My heart was functioning at only about 20%. They were so worried that I could have another heart event that they fitted me with a life vest. It's actually a defibrillator that they strap around you with all kind of monitoring devices on it.
Coming back to the house was tough. The only way to get her around was in a wheelchair. I had to pretty much just kind of take over whatever was needed.
He would not leave my side. And when we got home, every night, he served me communion and prayed. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't bend over. I couldn't do anything. All I could do is just get up and go to the bathroom and go back and lay right back down because I was terribly, terribly, terribly weak. With the amount of damage that I had in my heart, they told me, "You need to get used to this life because your life as you have known it is never going to be the same." My daughter had a friend that came over to visit with me. He had gone to seminary under this well-known pastor, and he called him. He said, "We have a friend, and she's had a heart attack, and her heart is severely damaged. She's very weak, and she needs a miracle." And this man said, "Have her at my church Sunday morning at 9:30, because God is going to heal her."
You know, I mean, we had to wheel her in. She was so weak, and then lifting her up, two people on each side of her lifting her up.
They lifted me out of the wheelchair, and I stood there in front of him. And when he put his hand on the top of my head, it felt like a bolt of electricity just shot through my body. And when it did, it set off the siren on my defibrillator.
I mean, the noises and the bells and whistles, everything's happening, you know, and I'm thinking, what is going to happen now? And she was able to get around there and cut it off before the thing, you know, went off. It hit me right then that something special was going on here.
Glory to God. Glory to God. Bring me that microphone there quickly. Come here, sister. Come here. Yeah. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
I'm hearing the testimony. If you remember, what was it, 2 weeks ago now?
2 Sundays ago.
What happened? You came in here.
Yes, I had a massive heart attack during the holidays, and the widowmaker artery was 95% closed, and they said I was minutes away from death. It left me with severe heart damage. I have my medical reports right here. I had 20% effectiveness in my heart. I came here. Pastor Rodney had heard about my situation and asked that I come. He wanted to pray for me. I came and I thought, how am I even going to do this? I could barely even walk in the door. I was so weak. I still had blockage in some arteries, and they thought that I might even have some blockage in my carotid artery. Well, I came and I had a defibrillator on, a defibrillator pack in case my heart stopped, so it would shock me back. I came and he prayed for me, and I don't know how many of you even heard it, but when it went off, I had 20 seconds to deactivate it, or you and I both would have been blown into the next county.
Nice.
Because it says, stand back, call 911, and I had enough foresight about me. I mean, the surge, when he prayed, it just shot through me, and he says, what's happening? And the thing went off, and I deactivated, and it said, treatment delayed. And the next day, I went back to my cardiologist, and I knew God had touched me. And he said, we don't know if the damaged part is dead or if it's just dormant. But if it's dormant, it's going to take months and maybe even years for it to come back any. And I said, I want another test. This was the very next day. I said, I want another test. He said, no way, I'm not doing it. He said, it'll only discourage you. Insurance won't pay for it. There has been no time, and it'll just make you feel worse. And I said, sir, I don't mean any disrespect, but your timing is not God's timing. And I said, he said, insurance won't pay for it. I said, I don't care. Do it. I'll pay for it. My husband said, we'll pay for it. Do it. Give her what she wants. And he said, I'm not going to do it. And I said, sir, you don't understand. I said, God has touched me. And he said, you come back Friday, I'll give you a test, and I'll find a way for insurance to pay for it. I went in on Friday. On Monday, they called me, and she said, your heart is back to normal. Praise God! And he said, there is no blockage anywhere. Your carotid is fine. All your arteries are working. I have it right here. He says, you, my dear, are a miracle. I feel better now than I did 20 years ago. I have more strength. I feel healthier than I ever did.
Keep walking and keep believing and hoping and praying and hanging on to God. And sure enough, he came through.
There is nothing that he can't do.